the information was already out there, you know?
Yeah.
To me, trying to seal these records is kind of like trying to put the genie back in the bottle.
Yeah.
I mean, people were posting these transcripts, and not all of the transcripts that they were talking about, though, because they made reference to a couple that the transcripts hadn't been completed yet. So not all of what we're talking about today, but much of what we're talking about today was, you know, people were posting it on the internet, you know, before the arrests were made, and so it's stuff that people have seen, you know, but and yeah, to me, sealing it now is a little bit like trying to put the genie back in the bottle, but not all of it, I guess, has been released. So
yeah. Well, that's pretty much it, right? Is there anything else you can think of that happened?
That's pretty much it. On August 21st, there will be another hearing, and they'll discuss the objections to consolidation, and they will discuss the objections to setting a preliminary hearing date, and that should come after the defense attorneys have received the discovery from the DA.
The DA did kind of, the way he talked, it seemed like by the 21st he felt like they would have plenty of time to go through some stuff.
One other thing that they did talk about was, you know, at the last hearing, the defense had made clear that they wanted to have access to materials that were going to be tested for DNA.
Oh, yeah.
And the DA did tell them that there were 3 items to be tested for DNA that the test would consume the item.
Explain that.
Okay, so probably what they're talking about here, okay, and I don't know, I'm just, you know, making an assumption here. Probably what they're talking about is a blood sample, right? Where there's not enough of, it's not a big enough sample that everybody can get a little bit of it. It's just a little drop of blood they found somewhere that they want to test for DNA, and testing it for DNA is going to use up the whole sample. Okay, even if that's not what it is, that would be an example of what they're talking about, right? Let's say you've got, you know, a drop of blood on the dashboard of a car, and you want to test it for DNA. Well, when you take the swab, you're going to use up that whole drop of blood, you know? So that's what they're talking about. And so supposedly there are only three items to be tested for DNA where the DNA test will consume the item. So other than those 3 things, the defense will get their opportunity to perform testing of their own, apparently.
And I noticed that, like, the defense attorneys didn't have a chance to really say anything when he announced that. Is that, like, because they have to, like, file a motion and then it has to go through?
Well, actually, that was already discussed at the last hearing, if I remember right. And basically what they agreed was that anything that didn't fall under that category, where the entire you know, sample would be consumed, then the defense would have access to those samples for DNA testing. But on those where the entire thing would be consumed, then they were just going to have to take the state's findings on that and not be able to conduct their own testing on it.
Yeah.
This is going to be, guys. Are we going to see Tad? Oh, and it looks like Mr. Tad Cullen. Looky there, y'all. He's my age. Bulletproof vest on.
They don't deserve it.
Nope, they sure freaking don't.
There's the first one, you guys.
Did they take any prisoners out there?
That was Cole.
Oh, they took Cole out this time? Okay, because he was the first one in.
Yeah, he's out. That's who they have in there right now. It's Cole.
With Carsey in.
Yeah.
There you have it, guys. No, Cole is not in
no,
there.
yeah, he is. Yeah, it's just really dark tinted windows.
Not bully.
There's that hateful, evil bitch. I'll pray for you, though.
Deserve a freaking bulletproof vest.
None of them do.
The first one had one. Here comes Grandma.
Her hair looks a lot better than it did in her
Did they
picture.
whack it off? Looks like somebody actually braided her hair. I thought she was in a pot all by herself.
I would hope she would have been.
That's what I heard. That all four of these people were in separate pods.
Maybe she knows how to braid her own hair. Fucking bitch. I don't know how that little lady got all these people on her side. Granny. She don't like that. Granny.
Granny. Grandma Tiffany.
She don't even deserve that damn title.
Here comes Grandma. In the backseat of this car right here. There's Grandma.
I can't get it.
Not bully.
What's up, everybody? On my way to Texas County with D-Hay. We just got word that the affidavits have been released by Oklahoma. We are on our way to the clerk office to purchase them. The reason I think it's important that we purchase these affidavits, there's 4 total affidavits from all of the attorneys involved. The reason it's important for us to purchase these affidavits is because as we speak right now, News Nation, Fox, all of them, all of these big conglomerates have copies of it, and they have teams of people going through it. And in my opinion, they're probably, if they're doing their job correctly, if they're doing what I would do if I was their boss, I would say, look for all of the horrible shit that can paint this part of the world as an awful place that people should steer clear of. That's what I would tell them to do, and that's probably what they're going to do. So that's why I think it's very important that we have back home media, which consists of everybody in this community. I post videos and information all day. I didn't collect it all, people. This is stuff sent to me from people like you watching this video. Right now, we're on our way to pick this up. So a couple calls to action here. One, we will be back in Elkhart around 4:30, 5 o'clock with all 4 affidavits. We are going to need some people who know what the hell legal mumbo jumbo is. I would like to set up some type of, if we can have somebody name a public place where we can all meet up and we can all pass them around and go through them. I think, like right now, Storm Team is here. Thank God that finally a news team that's outside where the crime scene is isn't like a vulture. It's actually like, there must be a storm coming. But we need to get some people's eyes on this information. Rob Wilson hopefully is going to be there. He's the smartest person I know. I think he can probably help make sense of a lot of what's going on. But anybody else that has any kind of legal background, or if you're just really good at reading and understanding what you're reading, we need your help. So please message my wife, Stephanie Relaford, and let her know what you can do to help. All right, so we're back from Texas County. I ran into News Nation outside of the courthouse, and it's been kind of odd with News Nation because they've been reaching out to me a lot this last few weeks. And I saw that report where the lady said that she felt threatened because like a truck came and checked on them being on their property. So I let them know in an email that I thought that was reckless. And anyway, I keep bumping into one, I think her name's Nancy. Nancy Liu or Wu or something like that, from News Nation. And so I had a long talk with her. I had a long talk with their crew, and they're down here from Los Angeles. They're all away from their families, you know. And then I asked them what News Nation is. I guess it's like basically what used to be WGN, which I want to take back any disparaging things I said about the media. I think it's easy to get upset when you see somebody report something maybe wrong or in the wrong way that could potentially mess up an investigation. But seeing how things have kind of settled down, we kind of know where these women are and what's kind of going on. Shout out to News Nation for being away for their families for 2 weeks and covering the story and letting everybody in the world know what's going on out here in the middle of nowhere. And we have purchased copies of the affidavits. We have one for each of the 4 suspects named publicly. I made quite a few copies, and I passed them around town to people that I felt like I could trust to get the word out, or maybe make copies of their own. I do have master copies of them. We will be going live tonight at some point, me and Rob Wilson, and perhaps a couple other people. We're not sure yet. We got a couple extra mics. We're going to form some kind of panel. We're going to go over these papers tonight with everybody that I can't hand these to, and we're just going to let everybody sort of know what's going on in this situation. Thank you for your continued support to Back Home Media.
What was that about?
That's Todd's family.
No, but they just searched the boy.
Yes, he walked up there with us.
So does he have? I don't know. Fucking asshole.
Warrants for Tiffany Adams, for Tad Cullum, and for Cole and Cora Twombly. First of all, if you look at the affidavits for probable cause for arrest warrant, this is the paperwork filed by the OSBI with the judge in order to get an arrest warrant. One of the things that you see with state and federal agencies is generally they have built a case already before they go to get an arrest warrant. And, you know, you see here that a lot of investigation has been done prior to the arrest warrants, prior to even applying for the arrest warrants, and definitely prior to the arrest warrants being issued. The 3 affidavits are all pretty similar. One or two of them have a little bit of information that is pertinent to just that particular person, but for the most part, the affidavits are pretty similar. And Derek, were you want me to just read it?
Yeah, I think we could just go ahead and read it, because the main reason I wanted to purchase them is because a lot of news organizations went over there and purchased them, and I feel like, and I have no bad blood towards these people, but I feel like they're going to cut and paste, and they're going to try to paint the picture how they want it. I would like for there just to be an audio documentation for anybody from this area to listen to the facts.
Okay, yeah. All right, so I am reading from the affidavit of probable cause for arrest warrant for Tiffany Michelle Adams. I don't know that I pronounced her middle name correctly, but Tiffany Adams. And it says, the undersigned of lawful age being first duly sworn upon oath deposes and states as follows. I am Special Agent Jason Ott of the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation. I've been a law enforcement officer in the states of Kansas and Oklahoma for approximately 27 years and served in the capacity of an investigator for over 20 years. I have read and prepared certain official investigative reports and statements of witnesses regarding the above named defendant, and from these statements and reports, it appears as follows. On Saturday, March 30th, 2024, the Texas County Sheriff's Office requested Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation investigative services with the suspicious disappearance of Veronica Butler and Jillian Kelly from rural Texas County after their vehicle was found abandoned near Highway 95 and Road L, south of Elkhart, Kansas. Butler and Kelly were traveling to Oklahoma from Hugoton, Kansas. Interviews were conducted related to their disappearance, and it was discovered that Butler was in a problematic custody battle with Tiffany Adams for the custody of Butler's 2 children. The father of those children was Wrangler Rickman, Adams' son. Butler's visitation with her children was court-ordered to be supervised every Saturday. Adams had a particular person she preferred to supervise those visitations, and that was Cheryl Brune. The court ordered Adams to pay Brune to supervise visits if that was who she wanted to be present. Otherwise, Butler was to choose and pay for the person to supervise. Adams said Brune was unavailable to supervise the visitation on March 30th, 2024, so Butler was required to arrange the supervision with one of her 3 approved individuals. Butler contacted Kelly of Hugoton, Kansas, and planned to have her supervise the visit. Butler told family members she was going to pick up her children from Adams at 1000 hours at Four Corners, the intersection of Highway 95 and US 64 West, a location in Texas County, Oklahoma. Butler and Kelly left Hugoton, Kansas, and traveled to Highway 95 and Road L about 5 miles north of Four Corners. Butler and Kelly arrived at that location at approximately 0940 hours. Butler planned to bring her daughter to a birthday party, but after they did not arrive, the family began looking for Butler. Melissa and Joey Padilla, who were Butler's family members, located Butler's abandoned vehicle just west of the intersection of Highway 95 and Road L. The Padillas then contacted law enforcement at 12:09 hours. An examination of the vehicle and areas surrounding the vehicle found evidence of a severe injury. Blood was found on the roadway and edge of the roadway. Butler's glasses were also found in the roadway south of the vehicle near a broken hammer. A pistol magazine was found inside Kelly's purse at the scene, but no pistol was found. Adams told OSBI that on Friday night, March 29, 2024, Rickman and Butler's children stayed the night with Barrett and Lacey Cook. Adams said she planned to pick them up that morning before visitation. Adams said she called Butler at 0900 hours to confirm the meeting, and Butler told Adams something came up and she was not going to make it. Butler's phone records confirmed the call occurred. However, at the time of the call, sorry about that, Butler was in Hugoton, Kansas, in the process of picking Kelly up to go meet Adams. Okay, so let me kind of recap for you a couple of things that are happening here. First of all, Adams told Barrett and Lacey Cook that actually told the judge that Cheryl Brune was unavailable on March 30th. We're going to find out later when Cheryl Brune is interviewed that was not necessarily true. And here, Adams tells Barrett and Lacey Cook at 0900 that she's not going to meet Butler because Butler has called it off, which is also not true. Butler is, in fact, at that very time in Hugoton picking up Kelly to come toward Four Corners. Okay. Adams stated that she was home at the time that Butler and Kelly went missing. Adams picked the children up before 1200 from the Cook's residence. OSBI interviewed Brune, and she said she was available to supervise the visit that day, but Adams told her to take a couple of weeks off from the visitation so Adams could question the children related to how Butler's approved visitation supervisors were. Butler and Kelly's phone records indicated their devices were actively sending signals to their carriers until approximately 0942 hours, after which the devices were no longer seen by the networks and stopped transmitting. Neither phone was found at the scene or within the vehicle, and they are currently missing. And that is as of the time of the affidavit. Adams was the last known person to communicate with Butler and was scheduled to meet Butler and Kelly for visitation at 1000 hours on March 30th, 2024. Through the child custody case, recordings were obtained where Rickman discussed death threats by Adams and Adams' boyfriend, Tad Cullum. The custody battle began in February of 2019, so this started, 5 years ago, with many hearings and court appearances. On March 18th, 2024 and March 20th, 2024, motions were filed requesting extended visitation for Butler. A hearing was scheduled to occur on April 17th, 2024. Butler's attorney informed OSBI that Butler was likely to receive unsupervised visitation with her children at that hearing. At times, Adams refused to let Rickman have his children, even though Rickman had legal custody of them. Law enforcement previously responded to a call for service where Adams refused to give Rickman his children. Reportedly, the officer told Rickman he believed the children were better off in Adams' care. Rickman's grandmother, Debbie Knox Davis, reported that in mid to late February of 24, Rickman told her they didn't have to worry about the custody battle much longer because Adams had it under control, that Adams knew the path the judge walked to work, and we will take out Veronica at drop-off. Rickman was confirmed to be in a rehabilitation facility in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, at the time of the disappearance. The children remain in the custody of Adams. Rickman denied having that conversation with Knox. On April 1st, 2024, OSBI agents obtained a search warrant for Adams' cellular phone. OSBI agents performed an extraction on the device. Information gained from the device included web searches for taser pain level, gun shops, prepaid cellular phones, and how to get someone out of their house. And all of that will become important as we continue to read. On April 1st, 2024, OSBI agents obtained a search warrant. On April 3rd, 2024, OSBI interviewed CW, age 16 years. CW is the daughter of Cora Twombly and Kobe White. Cora is married to Cole Twombly. CW stated that she had overheard group conversations related to Butler not protecting her children from her brother, all in reference to a sexual abuse allegation. CW advised that she was told by Cora that Adams, Cullum, Cora, Cole, and Paul Grice were involved in the deaths of Butler and Kelly. She stated that Adams had provided burner phones to use so they could communicate without using their personal devices. CW saw 2 burner phones charging on Cora's nightstand in her bedroom. CW described Cora, Cole, Adams, Cullum, Paul Grice as being part of an anti-government group that had a religious affiliation. Through OSBI investigation, it was learned that they call their group God's Misfits. Regular meetings are held weekly at Twombly's and the home of Barrett and Lacey Cook. Listen, one thing I want to throw in here too, I have no idea if their group had any affiliation with the national group God's Misfits, but there is a national group, a nationally recognized church, although it is kind of a biker church, called God's Misfits. I have no idea if they have any affiliation with that national group or not. CW was told on March 29th, 2024 that Cora and Cole would not be home in the morning when she woke and were going to be on a mission. When CW awoke at approximately 1000 hours, Cora and Cole were not home, but came home around 1200 hours. CW knew that Cole and Cora took a blue and gray Chevrolet pickup owned by them and a blue flatbed pickup owned by Clint Twombly when they left and returned in the same vehicles. CW was told to clean the interior of the Chevrolet pickup. CW asked Cora what had happened and was told that things did not go as planned, but they would not have to worry about her again. CW was told that Cora and Cole blocked the road to stop Butler and Kelly and divert them to where Adams, Cullum, and Grice were. CW asked Cora if their bodies were put in a well, and Cora replied something like that. CW also disclosed that other attempts to kill Butler occurred during February of 2024 near Hugoton, in which Adams, Cullum, Cole, Cora, and Grice went to Hugoton, but Butler did not leave her residence. This is consistent with the web search discovered on Adams' phone about how to get someone out of their house. According to Cora, the plan was to throw an anvil through Butler's windshield while driving, making it look like an accident because anvils regularly fall off of work vehicles. While in Carrick, Texas, interviewing CW and her brother, Cora and Cole arrived and tried to get access to CW and her brother. Cora was verbally aggressive, was very upset with the affiant, that's the guy who's filling out the affidavit, that she was not granted access to CW and her brother. Cole exited the vehicle armed with a handgun in a holster on his belt. OSBI investigation showed that Adams searched for gun shops on her cellular phone. A search of local gun shops showed Adams buying 5 stun guns at the Big R store in Guyman, Oklahoma. The purchase was made on March 23rd, 2024. So by showing all these dates previous to what's going on, they are building their case for first-degree murder, which is premeditated murder. Okay, they're showing that there was a plan in place. OSBI investigation showed that Adams purchased 3 prepaid cellular phones from Walmart in Guyman, Oklahoma on February 13th, 2024. The phones were identified by phone numbers, and I'm not going to give the numbers out, but yeah. Three separate phone numbers, 1620 and 2806 numbers. Search warrants for information related to location services and phone usage were completed for each device. It was learned that all 3 phones were at the area where Butler's car was located and the last known location of Butler and Kelly at the time of their disappearance. All 3 phones were powered on and accessed the cellular network for the first time in other words, they were activated at or near Cullum's residence at different times prior to March 30th. On March 30th, the 2806 numbers before Butler and Kelly's disappearance were at the Twombly's residence prior to going to or near Cullum's residence. Butler and Kelly's disappearance at 10:05 and 10:16 hours. And one of the 806 numbers and the 620 number were in the area at or near Cullum's residence. After Butler and Kelly's disappearance on March 30th between 10:16 and 10:35 hours, it was determined that 2 of those phone numbers were at a property owned by Jamie Beasley below a dam in the pasture where fresh dirt work was located by Eurofiant. Concrete was moved from a location near Beasley's residence, approximately 150 to 200 yards below the dam, where it was discovered that a hole had been dug and filled back in and then covered with hay. The location where Butler and Kelly disappeared from and where Butler's vehicle was located is approximately 8.5 miles away from the location below the dam on Beasley's property, giving drive time from the location where Butler's vehicle was located to Beasley's property well within the 34 minutes between the time of Butler and Kelly's phones stopping transmission and prepaid phones stopped transmitting on the morning of March 30th at locations near Twombly's residence and Beasley's property. The only other thing that is added in any of the other affidavits of reasonable cause is from the affidavit of reasonable cause for Tad Cullum, and that adds the fact that he borrowed a skid steer from Jamie Beasley and that he leases that pasture from Jamie Beasley, and so he has access to that pasture where the dam is and where the earth had been moved, and that he borrowed a skid steer from Beasley to dig a hole and move some cement and bury some cement and other things like that was the explanation that he gave to Jamie Beasley. And then he came to Jamie Beasley and told him, he said, hey, they're looking at me in this case. So, I don't want this to come back on you and you to get in trouble. And so they had a discussion that way. And that's the only other thing that's added in that affidavit.
Now, again, with that conversation, does stay as it would the person whose land it was and whose skis would they be in trouble? Like
I don't think so. From the conversation that I saw, he had no knowledge of what was actually going on. It was, there's nothing there to make me, and now it is a possibility because there may be information that that isn't in the affidavit, but I don't see anything in the affidavit that would lead me to think that he could possibly be in trouble. But obviously there are some names mentioned in the affidavits that I'd never heard before I read them, like Paul Grice. I have no idea who that is, and he was not one of the 4 arrested. So I know nothing about that. And then I guess that's the main thing, that name, Paul Grice. And like I said, I know nothing about him, don't know who he is. He's never mentioned anywhere. He is not one of the 4 arrested. He's not mentioned in any of the arrest warrants. So,
okay. Well, the last thing we're going to do, we're going to probably get out of here like very quickly because we just wanted to make that information available to the locals. But I know nobody in this room, there's a lot of people in this room off camera. I know nobody in this room is a legal expert, but Norm, like, what next? I mean, because to me, like,
okay,
I don't know how it works, but to me, if there's enough of a concession where they found these women, like,
so they found 2 bodies. They aren't willing to say yet that they are Kelly and Butler.
okay.
The reason why they're not willing to say that is because an autopsy has not been performed yet. Although I'm sure the autopsy was probably being performed today, but unlike when you watch CSI and they get instant results from these autopsies, okay, in real life, it takes days, weeks, and sometimes months to get satisfactory results from these autopsies, especially toxicology and things like that. So, and I don't know that that's a factor in this case, but I'm just saying, stuff is sent off to labs for testing, and these things are not processed immediately like they are when you watch TV. Okay, so the results of the autopsy may take some time, but that's the next thing that will give us some information is when they release information from the autopsies. But to me, the main thing is, and it's one of the reasons why I want to get the facts out there, but at the same time, we've got 2 families here that have lost family members, and it's hard for me to imagine the pain that they're going through. And, to me, we want to try to be as respectful of those families as possible. And, just, keep your thoughts and prayers with those families because they're going through some incredibly difficult times. Hopefully, the bodies will be positively identified and they'll have some closure in this. And, but that's the thing. You've got 6 children between these 2 women. You've got, Jillian Kelly had a husband. You've got, all kinds of family members that, these are young women that have mothers and fathers and brothers and sisters. And, we just hope for comfort for the families and hope that,